Elseworlds Exchange. I am Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
Welcome to part 2 of our epic Let's Make an Event Together Elseworlds Exchange episode, in which we are going to just create an event. We've talked about kind of in light of the fact that we're kind of like on the downswing of the event age of comics.
Yeah.
We wanted to chat about like the process by which people go through to make an event, and we were kind of like, it's more of a thought exercise and a community building the exercise as well, I guess.
It is. It's, what's funny is I didn't even know we were doing it again this week.
I can't believe you didn't, because I said we'll see you next week for part 2.
I missed that part. I thought we would do it another time, so I was like, yeah, you'll have Joel on. I will do things.
That's right.
And you're like, no. I'm like, okay.
That's right. So, all right, to recap a little bit, we talked about, what we did was we threw to the population a flurry or a huge amount of ideas, and you guys kind of sifted through them.
And parts of this whole thing ignoring the main event.
Exactly. And we were like, okay, so who should the event be about and everything like that, and then you guys almost unanimously picked a Marvel DC crossover. The one thing that is probably most likely not to happen for a while.
But that's why. That's why it's so fun. Is because like it's probably never gonna happen again.
No, it'll happen again.
For a long
but like
time.
it'll just they both need to fail real hard first.
Yeah. Hey guys, by the way,
hello.
I've been saying hi.
That's right. Hello. So while we get going, what I'm going to do is for the questions that we have for the population, you guys who are in the chat right now, if we have something we want you to break down, I'm gonna throw you a link in the chat for a little like online poll.
Nice.
You'll vote on it. We'll vamp for a couple of seconds, and then we'll just see what you guys think.
All right. And I can also, I'm going to very quickly just refresh everyone's memory about what it is we talked about last time on Elseworlds Exchange.
This is a really good idea.
We decided that we were going to do Marvel DC crossover, of course, right? But we definitely decided that each publisher was going to put out 6 tie-ins that would have 2 issues each, and they'd have variant covers by Scotty Young and Dustin Nguyen, which they would switch.
Right. Dustin would do the Marvel books, and Scotty would do the DC books.
Exactly. So for on the DCs, and what we decided is we would pick DC characters that were like the big guys that we wanted to use, and then we would take other Marvel characters to pair them up, and then same thing with Marvel. So in the Batman tie-in book, which is also a crossover book, it'll be Batman with the infamous Iron Man,
yes,
Superman with Magneto, Flash with Ghost Rider, Wonder Woman with Jane Foster Thor, Green Lantern with Captain Marvel, and Harley Quinn and Deadpool.
Yep. Those are all books that would sell like gangbusters.
Right? Then over on the Marvel side, we had Captain America with Green Arrow. We had Spider-Man with Nightwing. This, of course, is the Peter Parker Spider-Man. That's what was decided by the chat.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, for Captain America, that was Sam Wilson.
Yes.
Iron Man with Lex Luthor Superman. Doctor Strange, and of course, Hellblazer Team, or Constantine, whatever you want to do there.
Yep.
X-23 Wolverine, with Red Hood, and Black Panther and Vixen.
Nice.
Which, again, several of these were chat-based decisions.
Yes.
So yeah, we also decided that this was going to be a 7-issue miniseries. It would take 7 months, which probably means it would take more like 9 months.
Yeah.
And our writers would be Jeff Johns from DC and Jeff Lemire representing Marvel. We figured we'd pill 2 writers because it was easier for them to collaborate and make it be cohesive than have the artists collaborate.
Precisely.
And so for our artist, for our pencils, we went with Jim Lee.
Yep. That was under much contention from the last episode.
It was.
There was a lot of great ideas.
There was, oh my god.
Ultimately, everyone was like, you know what? As much as there are amazing artists out there who would do a spectacular job, I want to see Jim Lee draw that.
Right? And the chat, like, seriously, you guys had so many amazing ideas. Mm-hmm. And, well, I gotta be honest with you, any of them, any of the ideas you guys came up with would be great.
Yeah. What about Greg Pak?
So, we've pretty much gotten to the point, because we're not going to go into what each of the tie-ins would be about, but we wanted to hit up, what is our main event pitch?
Yes.
Like, what are we going to go for here? Like, we kind of done this backwards in a sense. We've decided what our tie-ins are going to be, but what are they going to tie into?
Exactly. And, of course, in the noble tradition of tie-ins, they will more or less be their own stories and usually be used to supplement the main event, but they will have no bearing on the main event, nor will they have any influence over the main event. And the main event will be written as though the tie-ins don't even exist. So that'll be in a noble tradition of what tie-ins are like.
Exactly.
Although I'm sure in some way. You know, if you have like a really clever artist and writer combo, you know, they might actually wind up in influencing it in some major way. For example, Civil War II is garbage, but Nick Spencer's Captain America is supplementing Civil War II in a way that you can't even imagine how much better it would have been if it was just all written by Nick Spencer.
All
so,
right.
yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, Sal did the. I'm not gonna lie, he did the heavy lifting here with coming up with pitches. I came up with half of one. He finished it the rest of the way, and then upon realizing that today was the day, I also tried to come up with a pitch. But I gotta tell you, my faith is more in Sal because he knows these universes pretty much inside and out.
Oh, thank you.
If you were asking me to pitch like a book that could combine image books, I could probably do that for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or very specific characters. But in terms of this, I want Sal to start.
Oh,
definitely.
Okay. I didn't realize that was where we're going with that.
Well, I thought that's where we would go with that.
Makes sense. Okay. And let me just get this one. I'm writing down all the names of the the pitches.
Okay.
And then we're gonna throw that.
Well, you've got a lot of pitches.
These are all of them. This is yours as well.
Yeah, but still, you have.
What was the name of yours again? We never came up with one. I guess we'll have to ask everybody else to come up with one, and then we'll throw it out there.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, so in the tradition of pitching, here we go. Let's roll over a couple of these. I'm gonna go with.
Oh, look at him! He's got like a thing here. He's got all written out. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to forget them.
Fine.
Yeah. So, okay, here we go. The first one that I have is, it opens in the days of Future Past Future, but instead of the X-Men being the target of the Sentinels, instead it is the Teen Titans, or the Titans, rather. And they're living in a war-torn post-apocalyptic future where they're hunted like dogs by giant robots that are meant to destroy them, destroy all metahumans, if you will. They feel like something's wrong and something's amiss and are immediately slaughtered by the Sentinels that are hunting them. As it turns out, Kang the Conqueror has entered the DC Universe thanks to visiting the Time Stream and winds up effectively recognizing the Avengers JLA crossover. That happened in continuity, and so as such, as part of the timeline, he slips in during that period, and because he was there when that happened, he finds a gateway into entering into the DC Universe. By mucking around in time in the DC Universe, he winds up finding the Mobius chair, and then catches the attention of the Justice League by doing so. So now we got Kang the Conqueror on the Mobius chair, and the Justice League seeks to stop him. He sends the Marvel and DC Universe into a chronal, chaotic time wind, merging timelines and affecting all possible outcomes. This means you get all versions of all characters, and they are all being affected, and so as such, you are up to Wave Rider, Cable, Booster Gold, and Bishop, who are all time-displaced warriors in their own right, who need to come together and solve this problem. We're calling it Days of Future's End.
You mean Future?
Future's End, because we got, what's his name? We got Bishop in there.
Of course.
But, by the way, all my titles have a Marvel and a DC event smashed together, so there you go. But Days of Future's End is my story, in which basically both Marvel and DC are thrown into chronal chaos, and it's up to forgotten or time-oriented characters to put things back the way they were and defeat Kang.
Okay.
So there you go.
I like that.
Yeah, I did mention Booster Gold. It's Booster Gold, Wave Rider, Cable, and Bishop.
Yes. That's awesome.
So there you have it. Days of Future's End.
That's fun.
That's the first one.
That's great.
That's my first idea. I'm like, all right, chronal chaos.
All right. You have 4, and then one that you worked on with me, so I think you should do another one.
All right, I'll do another one. Let's see. I guess I'll go with this next one. Okay. Annihilus discovers the... Annihilus winds up entering DC space through an area similar to the Crunch in the Negative Zone, the Crunch is like this area where the Negative Zone and like our universe meet, so he's able to like enter into that area.
Okay.
Annihilus discovers that like if you go to another corner of the Negative Zone, you can enter into another Nexus point, and that is with the DC universe. He is roaming the DC cosmos when he encounters the Starro, and when the Starro come in contact with Annihilus, they actually it takes over his mind, and so Annihilus and Starro merge, and Annihilus's influence on the Starro wind up becoming kind of like a unified race of conquerors, and they lead an assimilation wave across the DC universe. The heroes of Marvel and DC must learn to work together and stop this assimilation wave from assimilating both of their universes. We're calling the event Assimilation instead of Annihilation, in honor of the Annihilation story.
Nice.
So yeah.
Very nice.
There you go.
I like that. Now you're gonna definitely, because you helped me out with the other one, because like I'm okay with coming up with random like I'm like, this would be cool to see.
Yes.
And then I'm like, now someone help me actually make it work.
Right, because that's I mean, like the point of doing any event is by being like, let's just see what would be cool.
You're also a superior pitcher.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm relatively new to the whole process.
You're much better at it than I do. I ramble, so just bear with me, everybody.
Yes, as we go.
Because you're gonna have to jump in here. I know that, because I barely remember what it is because I didn't write any of it down.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I came up with this idea after we were done. I was like, cool, and then I just didn't write it down. That's my fault. Should have written it down. Always write down your ideas. Just gotta do it.
That's right.
So, my pitch, I guess, really begins in... I'm pained to decide in which area it would begin. I think it would begin in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
I guess in the reaches of space, where we find Mojo, who, of course, is a fourth wall breaking character who thinks of all of this as, a television show with which needs ratings.
Yes.
And he's noticed a severe drop in said ratings as of late. Now, don't assume this is going where you think it's going. I'm not doing a contest of champions, nothing like that. But as he is toiling over what to do because sponsors are leaving or whatever,
I think the idea was that right now in the Marvel universe, the Mojo people feel like things are getting stale.
Yeah, it's stale. We've had this all new, all different, and not much was all new or all different.
Yeah.
And, we had this whole Secret Wars and what really came out of it. Like, we need to mix things up a little bit.
How many Secret Wars can you have before everybody gets sick of it?
Exactly. And meanwhile, another character from the DC universe has kind of become bored and is seeking to stir up a little trouble.
Okay.
And he kind of stretches beyond the scope of regular reality, and he finds himself in the wake of Secret Wars a little weakened point between
universes.
Essentially the universes. And he makes his way through. And so we cue Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Oh, yes.
Who shows up to Mojo and offers a bit of a deal.
Okay.
He wants to start some trouble, and in particular with a certain big blue gentleman, essentially, or as he would call him, and he knows that Mojo's itching for, to boost some
something
sales
new
here, right?
Yeah.
And like maybe he's seen some superheroes on 616 that are interested to him as well. So he proposes that they essentially create a small planet or universe upon which these heroes can be put through trials. Now, we're not versing them one another, but just essentially like a reality TV show with superheroes on it. And superheroes, supervillains.
Against their will, of course.
Right, exactly. And Mojo's like, I think that's a great idea. And so, like, Mojo will get to pick a whole bunch of people he thinks would be good for casting on his side, on the Marvel end. Same with Mxyzptlk, which of course will include Superman. But then they each get to pick one from the other universe.
Right, they each pick their champions, yeah.
Right. Not even champions. Like, Mxyzptlk gets to pick someone from the Marvel universe to dump in.
Right.
So he's just going to pick at random.
And he's picking basically, like, based off of, like, costumes and powers. He's like, that guy looks cool. I'm going to go with him.
Exactly. Yeah. But inevitably what will happen is Mojo will definitely see a spike in ratings. But it's not enough for Mxyzptlk. It's not enough at all. He's still bored by this. So he's going to start going in there and creating these scenarios in which people are going to die, but at like the wrong act. Everything to Mojo has to follow the formula for TV, essentially. Right. And when Splitnik does that, he goes off book. And so now he's like, I'm in trouble. Yeah. And this guy has greater powers than I do.
Yes.
And I don't know what to do. So now he has to turn to the heroes who he's thrown into this whole mix to stop Mxyzptlk.
Okay.
From destroying
his show.
His show entirely, and then possibly ruining the Marvel universe, and then going back over.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I thought it was something fun, something light.
That is very light. Yeah, that's just like kind of fun, and
Yes.
it uses characters that you would not like necessarily put at the top of like a crazy event.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
What would you call it?
I would probably call it Infinity Crisis.
Because of the, you know, like I can imagine that. What's it called? Mojo would say something like, "We can call it the Infinity War," and then.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Wait, no, that's been done." And then Mix is like, I've been partial to crises myself."
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Infinite Crisis. I like that.
No, Infinity Crisis.
Infinity Crisis. That's right. Infinity Crisis.
I like that. Fully coolly, Infinity Crisis, the final gauntlet.
The final gauntlet. The gauntlet's been thrown.
Genius.
Yeah, I like that too. Okay. I got another one for you here.
You got another two, and I have one that's a little more esoteric.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. This one is Carol Danvers awakens on Oa, and she notices that her costume has been completely altered. It's green now, with a little bit of white as well. And she has a ring on her finger, and it's not the kind that she was hoping for. She's met by Hal Jordan, who has been tasked with training the new recruit of the Lantern Corps. You see, the problem is that Nekron from Blackest Night has returned, and his reach has expanded beyond the boundaries of the DC universe. He has learned that there's another universe of similarly powered beings, all of whom have died recently and been resurrected. And as such, because Nekron has the ability to resurrect the recently past or the long past and make them into Black Lanterns, everybody in the Marvel Universe has died most recently, with a notable handful of exceptions. Only a handful of these heroes can't be affected by the Black Lantern Ring, and the various Corps have sought them out to try and prevent a second Blackest Night from happening. This would include characters that pretty much survived the beginning of Secret Wars, and then all the way through it, who weren't like unmade or anything like that. This includes Carol Danvers, who'd be a Green Lantern, Thor, Jane Foster, who is a Blue Lantern, Star-Lord, whom I haven't decided what kind of lantern he'd be, Miles Morales, to be an Indigo Lantern, Black Panther, I haven't decided what kind of lantern he would be, and of course Doctor Doom would be an Orange Lantern.
Nice.
And all of those lanterns would come together, along with, of course, the Green Lantern Corps that you already expect, and of course everybody who's from the DC universe who had originally been pulled into the Corps through various events, Blackest Night, Brightest Day, Sinestro Corps, etc. Those characters would come together, and it would basically just have a big old lantern fight.
Okay.
And of course, Nekron would be able to tap into a few of the recently dead from the Marvel Universe that he was able to, like, kind of affect and find and use. So it was just the issue is they're trying to basically prevent him from crossing over into the MCU, or into the MU. I'm so used to saying MCU. But yeah, we're calling it Blackest Rain, and this would be the story where, Jeff Johns would probably feel the most comfortable writing.
Absolutely.
He's like, oh, it's a lantern fight with a bunch of Marvel characters.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
So there you have it. Blackest Rain.
Like
is
that.
mine. Thank you.
All right, what is your last one?
My last one. Well, I got two more.
You do?
Yeah.
You have 5?
Yeah.
I have like 1.5.
I know. I wrote a bunch of these like the day that we did this.
All right, go.
Okay, this one is Mongul learns of the Infinity Gems and their influence on their home universe. As we established in JLA Avengers, the Infinity Gauntlet means diddly squat in the DC universe.
Okay.
So Mongul knows that he learns through his travels and through his various contacts of these Infinity Gems, and he knows that they work in their home universe. So he decides to take over the Marvel Universe, screw the DC Universe, I'm leaving, and use the Infinity Gauntlet to do it. Once he does wind up taking over the Infinity Gauntlet, we'll deal with that later, Mongul turns planet Earth into a whole new war world for himself. Unsatisfied with dominating an unfamiliar universe, he decides to pull the DC Universe into the Marvel Universe itself, using the Infinity Gauntlet. The strain of merging realities threatens both of those realities, and heroes from both universes have to work together to defeat him and put their worlds back from where they belong. So it's just an idea of, like, Mongul, who is basically a Jim Starlin creation and a Darkseid affectation, decides screw it, or a Thanos affectation, if you will, goes and says, screw this, I'm taking the Infinity Gauntlet. He uses the Infinity Gauntlet in the Marvel Universe, takes over the world pretty much like instantly, and turns it into a war world of his own. This is why we're going to call it Secret War World.
Okay.
So there you go. Mongul versus the world. And yeah, so like Mongol takes over Earth like pretty easily, and then he's like, this is kind of boring.
Right.
Plus, like Superman's not here, and I can't humiliate him here, so he's like, I'm gonna pull the DC universe in, which threatens both realities. So
I like that.
thank you.
That's awesome.
Secret War World.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
So do you want me to do mine, or do you want me to
Yeah, do your esoteric one.
So this is my esoteric one, guys. So like, if you're not into it, it's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally fine. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm actually gonna need a little help with this because I had to like dig deep to make this work. Because
Right.
I started with things I knew, and then I spiraled out of control from there.
Yeah.
So, okay. My
What?
story can start with one of two characters.
Oh no! Wait. By the way, Rob confirmed you can use your original character.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go with that then.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob. All right, so my story begins with one character then, and it's the Beyonder.
Okay. The original Beyonder.
The
like
original
the Secret Wars
Beyonder.
1984 Beyonder.
Yes.
The child one.
Yeah, and you know, I know he was very interested in studying like humanity and life and like all that, and that's a reason why he, you know, could have potentially, you know, made all the superheroes fight and such.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, and I know also, by the way, I just want to preface this, he's done a couple of other things, a couple of other feats that were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's kind of just like bored.
Right. Because the last time we saw the Beyonder, the child unit, he was at the end of the Illuminati miniseries, then he went into what we assume is the real world, and never actually appeared in any of the Hickman era stuff. He was referenced, but he never actually like was shown or
Right.
was slaughtered. So
Right.
we have to assume that the Beyonder is probably like kicking around in the real world or
Yeah.
bouncing around different universes.
In mind, that he's exploring the universe. Like, in the wake of Secret Wars, you know, he's checking things out. Nothing's really sparking his interest, because he kind of got something in his craw.
Yeah.
And it's something he would love to explore, but he can't quite figure out how to do it. It's something in a sense that, like, he had a taste of at one point, but he really wants to just take it a step further.
Okay.
And during his explanations, he ends up at the Tavern at World's End, which is from the Sandman universe. And while he's there, he gets to chatting with some of the patrons, and he mentions in particular that he would love to be able to study a world that doesn't know death. And they're like, that's crazy, because you can't do that. Like, what are you going to do, kill death? And he's like, I've done that. It's not what I'm looking to do here.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want to remove her for a bit and just see what happens.
Right.
And they mentioned something. They're like, well, I mean, it sounds like you'd have to put her somewhere. And I know, of course, that he can create pocket universes, but he's not sure if that's enough. We're talking about death here. Right?
Yeah, because, like, he could go to the Cancerverse, but, like, there's nobody there.
Right. So instead, what he hears from someone there is they go, I've heard a couple of things. In particular, that there's a place you can go where there is a being or an item, or it's kind of beyond description, that could be described as, you know, that upon all of creation is written. And they tell him about something called the Source Wall. And within the Source Wall is something called the Primal Monitor. Now this is where we're going to go hard Grant Morrisonian, hard Neil Gaiman. And he goes, huh? And they're like, but really, come on. Like, you're going to do that? And
right, you can't go in the Source Wall.
You can't do that. And he's like, okay, which way?
Right, which way would it be?
Yeah. So he goes there, and he, you know, sees the Source Wall. And the Source Wall doesn't know really what he is, because he's from beyond.
He's from another reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he goes right in.
Oh, right.
And when he does, he finds the Primal Monitor, and he utilizes it to essentially, like, create a stronger pocket universe in which he writes that he will keep death. And in doing so, he pulls not only Mistress Death, but Death from the DC universe.
Okay.
So Vertigo's Death shows up too. And she's like,
the fuck?
yeah. But she can't leave, because she is more so even than Mistress Death tethered to this. Even though she is greatly powered, this is something beyond that.
That's right.
Beyond. So now we find that Marvel and DC are both in chaos, because they live in worlds that death has no consequence. And on both sides of the fence, on DC and Marvel, we have characters who are like, that's okay. It
Right.
kind of makes our jobs easier. You know, like, without having to worry about, like, you know, a supervillain destroying an entire city or, you know, like, you know, our consequences from our actions, like killing someone.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just figure out a way to keep the peace. We'll figure out a way to, like, keep resources going. Like, you know, we'll make this work. Like,
Right.
let's try this. You know,
Yeah, a world without death
it'll be okay.
doesn't have to be so bad.
Exactly. Meanwhile, there are other characters who are like, this isn't what you think it's going to be. That's ridiculous. Like, a world without death, what are you going to do? You're not going to stay young forever. You're going to get old.
Yeah.
You can still be maimed and mutilated. It's not like...
Yeah, but also, like, death is a part of life. It's part of, like, the natural order.
And so we end up having, like, almost these mini civil wars going on.
Right.
And so you have a whole team from the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe looking to figure this out. Of course, they'll turn to Constantine and Doctor Strange for guidance.
Naturally.
Who will lead them to what they believe is going on, right? So eventually they'll all meet up and the teams can kind of split off and, like, you'll have those who are trying to stop the team going to save our two deaths.
Yep.
And I just want to note that on that, because I know in the tie-ins we had Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is going to be at first like, cool, no death. But then shortly thereafter, she recognizes the fact that she's like, what's the point?
Right.
What's the point of anything I'm doing at this point? Like, it's meaningless. Like, that which I try to do, there's no meaning to it anymore. So she loses complete faith and is just totally on board for freeing death, because otherwise there's no point to life.
Yeah, that's true.
So a lot of it will focus on the character's own struggle with a life with or without death.
Yeah.
And including someone like Spider-Man, who it's like Spider-Man's and Batman's lives have been so affected by death. So
right, how would they feel about a world without it?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, again, very esoteric.
Right.
Very much out there.
Yeah, it's about like these characters having like their fundamental belief core values being shaken.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
What were we going to call this story? That's a good question. You want to throw it to the chat?
Yeah.
See what they come up with? I'd love to know, like, what they think we should call this thing.
Exactly.
I saw a couple things, like, beyond strange.
That's good. I like that. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it'd be very different. We could still have huge fights, huge crazy fights. Because they'd be huge crazy fights with no death.
Exactly. They don't affect anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fights can actually be even grander and more ridiculous.
Exactly.
And...
You can see, like, Superman go up against a character he could never go up against.
Yeah.
Because there's no fear.
Yeah. Death's End, Beyond Death. I like Death's End.
I like Death's End, too.
Yeah. I also saw... that's a great one, by the way. I like that.
It's different. I think some of yours are much stronger, but, like... I gotta tell you, like, that was something I wanted to explore.
Yeah,
because, like,
I love that.
I love the idea of pulling the Vertigo universe in a little bit more.
Yeah.
And of course, at some point, I know it's too bad that Darkseid is dead.
Yes.
But it'd be great to pull Darkseid and Thanos in simultaneously, because they definitely
have their own opinions about death.
About death, and, like, they're at the source wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, you got, like, people trying to fix this whole problem, and you have these two crazy titans outside, like, having a battle.
Yeah. Death Wars. Somebody had a great pitch for the title for the Mojo pitch as well.
Oh,
that
really?
I really liked, and I was trying to think of what it was.
Ah.
I can't find it again, but like...
Deadman would definitely have to be
my God,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
it's
doubt.
frustrating because he was so... like, he was teased at being epic and awesome and really cool after Blackest Night, and then they just wasted with him. Like,
Right, and I figure, because we have Harley Quinn and Deadpool both in this, Deadpool's just kind of like, all right,
I'm in.
I
Where
mean,
you going?
like,
Yeah.
you know, she and I had a thing.
Exactly. So I
figured-
guess I owe it to
I
him.
guess I should go check it out. I don't know. It's just like, it's not really any different for me. So
Right.
It just, it's harder for me to make money now.
Yeah.
So
Death Game.
From a financial standpoint. I had the thought of the Joker, but we haven't seen the Joker yet back in so I didn't want to pull him in.
No, we haven't. Not like none of our pitches have the Joker in it.
But, like, trust me, that was my initial thought, is that...
But he could be in one of those awesome tie-ins.
Right.
I can see Doom dealing with the Joker in a really fun way.
Well, I was also thinking, like, Joker would also be, like... I think he would come to the realization that without death...
It's his
his
he would
art
absolutely.
is wasted.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool to see, like, Batman and the Joker kind of, like, agree ideologically about death and then just do something about it.
I like that. Wade being like, there are two lady deaths and trying to hit on Vertigo's
my
death.
God.
And she's like...
She's like, gross! Do you have, like, a van to go with your whole thing?
He's like, I like you.
Yeah. He's like, oh, You personally insult me in addition to rejecting me. I love you. I have a little bit of a...
Do you have a fan club?
Yes. Yes, I do. It's called the 90s. So mine is also about death.
Okay.
But, yeah. But I need to know what that other... That Mojo pitch title was, because it was really good. Midlife Crisis. That's a good one for one of the tie-ins. I gotta figure out what they're called. The Last Days of Death. I like that. Death Reloaded. The Cock Blocking of Thanos. But yeah, no, I think we're gonna go with Death's End. It's just solid. They gotta be catchy.
Right.
You know, they when you're writing a paper, they always teach you gotta be catchy, clunky. So it's like the you got to keep the meat and potatoes of like a really simple, very, very gripping title, and then you move to the other one. But yeah, man, I don't remember. Well, if anybody can throw it into the chat, let me know if you remember that Mojo pitch story, because I really liked that. I saw it and I was like, that's awesome. Maximum death. So all right, no, yeah, it wasn't War of the Infinite Crisis, but it was that story. It was yeah. Anyway, we'll see. But yeah, okay. Well, mine is Blood Death. Where the hell am I?
It's right there.
There we go. Okay, so mine is, which we can also use any of these titles for. Let's see. Okay, so mine is Marvel's Death has an unexpected guest, and that's Darkseid. With whom, so like, okay, the idea is the Darkseid died during Darkseid War, but in this story, instead of him going to like some afterlife or anything like that,
instead of Vertigo Death,
he goes to Marvel's death instead. Or rather, he goes to the Marvel afterlife.
Right.
And either it's because he's being punished, or because he slips through reality, because it's the death of Darkseid, and even though we established in Final Crisis that the death of Thanos means, like, or the death of Darkseid means, like, the death of everything, it turns out that if, like, Jeff Johns is writing it, then no, it turns out just you can kill him, and that's it.
Okay.
So, anyway, so Darkseid winds up going to Marvel's afterlife, and he meets Marvel's death, and she falls in love with him.
Of course. He is literally her type.
Yes. And he is totally uninterested. And is only interested, of course, in returning to Apocalypse and being a god. While that she can't, or maybe won't, send him back, she does wind up giving him power to make his own version of Apocalypse. And the heroes of the Marvel and DC universe mobilize to stop Darkseid, but how can they when this new god has death on his side? So that's the pitch. It's just it's Darkseid with Death's, like, it's like an inverted Infinity Gauntlet where Death loves Darkseid, but Darkseid has no interest in her. And to impress him, she keeps giving him more powers. And so, you know, he becomes more and more powerful and more godlike, and he's like, okay, well, if I'm going to make an apocalypse, I guess I'll pick Earth, because fuck that place. It's a source of a major bunch of bullshit for me. Or, and this is more likely, Darkseid is disgusted by the amount of, like, power that she willfully and, like, kind of pettily gives him, which is true of Death in Marvel. Marvel's Death can be kind of, like, creepy and weird, and, like, especially when she's portrayed with dealing with Wolverine or Deadpool, she's kind of a pain in the ass, or she's petty, and I could see Darkseid being like, you disgust me on so many levels. I reject everything you're giving me. And so you got all the Marvel and DC characters, like, coming together to battle with Darkseid, expecting to fight an undefeatable foe, only for Darkseid to say, like, let's get out of here. And then they all have to, like, either deal with the consequences, or Darkseid comes to that realization during a huge, cool battle.
Okay.
But anyway, the idea being, like, Death is like, make a new apocalypse, and I don't care where it is. You know, and maybe Darkseid likes it, and so he starts to, like, create an apocalypse, and she's like, oh, this place actually really sucks. You know, that kind of thing. But I call it Siege of Darkseid.
That's awesome.
Instead of Siege of Darkness, which was the
if I had more time, I have, like, a half an idea.
Let's hear it.
It's a half an idea, so we're not going to count this one.
Yeah.
We're not going to count this one.
Okay.
But, okay, so Cersei, desiring to defeat Wonder Woman,
yes,
starts to use her magical powers to seek out others like her in order to add that to her own power in order to destroy Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And in doing so, she reaches out to Marvel's Enchantress.
Oh, I like Cersei and Enchantress.
And they figure out a way to open a portal in which Enchantress comes through to Themyscira and like gets to see what the civilization is like. And she's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, Enchantress would love Themyscira.
She's like, you know what we should do is we should just pit the forces of Themyscira against the Asgardians.
Ugh.
And then we can just take over afterwards.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. And so they create this, like, Asgardian Themyscirian war.
Oh, yes.
That's all I got.
I'd call it something like War in Heaven or
but,
something
like,
that.
I'm like, I want to see these two warrior races going
to
at
battle.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, unwittingly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know.
Let's hear a couple of ideas for titles for that one.
Yeah.
Titles like that. I love that because I need to put it in the thing. But I also, yeah, God, what the fuck?
I don't know. Like, I just think that's cool.
Yeah, because you get to have Wonder Woman and Thor.
Yeah.
And they like meet, fight, and then team up.
Right. You could even have like
War of the Gods is already a Wonder Woman event that stars Cersei.
I was gonna say you could even have Hippolyta and Odin going at it.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I want to see that too, and that'd be freaking awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And you got what the hell is his name? The Errol Flynn character.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't remember his name.
But he's like, ladies.
Yeah. But Siege of Heaven.
Siege of Heaven's pretty cool.
Oh, Battle of the Titans. Almost Clash of the Titans.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Hey.
Man, yeah, I like Titans and I like Siege. You get to play on Siege.
Yeah.
But yeah, God's End, Paradise Crisis, Kingdom of Paradise, Myths and Monsters, Pantheon. I like the use of Ragnarok in some way.
Yeah.
Love or War, Crisis Paradise, Clash of the Gods.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really
Clash
cool.
in Paradise, Fallen Gods, Warcross, War of the Gods. What do we say? Clash of the Paradise? Clash of the Gods.
Clash of the Gods. I just thought, like, I'm like...
Enchantment War.
Like, these two, like... these.
Robert, Paradise Lost.
Oh, I like that. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just...
Asgard Attacks! Yes! That's mine. That's just what I'm going to call it that.
That is spectacular.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It would be so much easier to have Asgard attack Themyscira.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, we'll go. All right, it's okay. Paradise Lost or Asgard Attacks? I like either one.
I don't know. They're both good.
Yeah.
They're both good.
Oh, man.
But, like, I just love the idea of, like, these two, like, you know, puppeteers, like, being like, no, we'll just weaken them, and then we'll just finish the job.
Exactly. No, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. See how much fun it is? Just make up an idea and then throw it out there knowing that no one's going to give you a hard time. Yeah, I like both of them, but I think I'm going to go with Asgard Attacks.
Yeah.
Unless you don't agree.
No, I'm totally fine with that. You could even do one of those things where it's like Asgard Attacks : Paradise Lost.
Yeah.
Let's do Asgard Attacks. It's
okay.
totally fine.
Let's see here. Do I have to do this? Damn it.
I think you do.
Yeah. Nope. I gotta fix for this.
What did straw poll?
Battlefield Ragnarok. Straw poll. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I lost everything.
Oh man, can you imagine Sif running into like all the women of Themyscira being like, "This is pretty cool, though."
Oh yeah. Let's see. Asgard Attacks. We gotta come up with all of our names again. I gotta pull all those together.
Oh, Infinity Crisis.
Right. Which
Unless there was the other one.
I never saw it again.
It's lost to the comments of time.
Yep. Oh, damn it. DC, Marvel, titles.
But yeah, what's fun is, like, these are, like, some of them are things that we have seen similar things to, like, they have a similar vein, but, like, most of this is just stuff we haven't seen before, especially in a like, you know, cross-company event, you know? Like, it's, I like these because, like, in all of these stories, I feel like no one side is more important.
No,
You know
it's
what
true.
I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, that's the thing. That was the impetus behind a lot of the pitches that I was doing, and I was like, I want to do something where it's like I don't want to show too much favoritism.
yeah.
So,
I completely understand that. And it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, like, that's always the problem, I think, with doing the cross-company crossover, is, like, them, like, sitting there being like, well, my characters have to be as strong as yours.
oh yeah.
You know, like, and I think that these all have the opportunity to show the strengths of characters on both sides.
Yeah. Did we ever come up with your Beyond one?
Oh, no, I don't remember.
I thought it was something like, yeah, like, Beyond. Yeah, I don't remember. Beyond Strange.
That was one, yes.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, chat, let us know what that was called, because I lost it.
Aww.
But, Beyond Death. That's what it was.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody. Okay. So let's see if we got everything ready to go. We've got Asgard Attacks, Infinity Crisis, Days of Future's End,
Yep.
Secret War World, Siege of Darkness, Blackest Rain, Assimilation, and Beyond Death. I think those are everything. If I'm forgetting anything else,
That's quite a few.
that's enough, right?
So literally everyone's vote will count.
Yeah, that's right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to drop the straw poll into the chat. And if you're watching this or listening to this afterwards...
I gotta say, also, Death's End is good.
Mm-hmm. Death's End, yeah. That's what it was.
There's also Dead No More.
Yeah, we have a...
Or Death No More.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
too close.
Alright, fine.
Yeah, Death's End. That's right.
It does sound like a metal band. I like that.
I like it too. All right, so let's see. We're going to create the poll now.
The poll has been created. All of your votes are going to 100% count because there's so many options.
Yep. I'm also going to throw it into the description of this video.
Alright, guys. Now's your chance to vote. It's all going to come down to you guys. This is where the chat has total power.
That's right. Woohoo.
And now we get to vamp.
Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about these events. Oh yeah, so all right. We've got the event, kind of like they're going to determine, you guys are going to determine what the event is going to be. What the main event is going to be.
Yes.
We've got the tie-ins, we've got the creative team that's going to work on this event, but we don't have like creative teams for all those other ancillary titles. And that's another thing that's like either it's going to be another episode or we can probably try and like hash them out really fast. I don't want to like I don't want to risk wasting people's time on like something that we don't have 100% certainty on.
Right.
So yeah.
Exactly. I gotta tell you, like with any of these events, I'm really, really like just super excited like what the tie-ins would be like, because there's so many opportunities with these character pairings, like to be in these events and to be like, you know, a part of it in some way, shape, or form, or to be doing something that's maybe not even super involved with the event, but it's still affecting their lives. Like that's really cool.
No, I agree. Let's see how we're doing. We've got 96 votes so far.
Nice.
Secret War World is dying. I'm gonna throw it out there.
People are done with
Secret Wars.
Yeah, for the time being. Someday, they will come back. Someday, of course. And I gotta tell you, Jim Lee drawing any of these would be amazing.
Yeah. Asgard Attacks would look awesome.
Right?
Any of these would look awesome. Jim Lee's Darkseid. Like,
oh my god.
Or a Mongol with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Any of those would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to see Jim Lee's Mojo.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous. Like, there's nothing epic about it.
No, but I've seen Hubert's Mojo, and it's disgusting.
Yeah?
Yeah. Andy Kubert did it.
I gotta tell you, I don't like Mojo at all, which is so funny that I was like...
Right? That you're like, let's do a Mojo event.
I like the idea of... you know what it is? It was for me, it was breaking him down. I had to break him down, having to come to the superheroes.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and that's so Mojo.
He's just like...
Yeah. Hey, listen, sorry, I fucked up so bad. Listen,
he would spin it that he didn't screw up at all, and they're all like...
But there you go. Let's see.
And I gotta tell you, I think no matter what story is picked, Jeff Johns and Jeff Lemire
oh my god,
would just knock it out of the park. You know what I mean? Because like Johns knows first of all, he knows the Lanterns inside and out, but I think he truly knows the DC universe, like in a profound way. Like he completely gets it.
Oh yeah,
he knows it. He has to know it.
Yeah,
and it's great to have somebody who's in charge right now who does know it so well. And Lemire just like he's just really talented. You know what I mean? Like not only as a writer but as an artist as well. Like so like he has that in his head too. Like what's gonna look good on the page. You know? So I would love to see the two of them even just working with Lee.
Oh yeah.
You know, like like what the process would be. Like how does that go? Like what is Lee like? Right? Yeah. Like does he prefer to have like free reign, or does he want you to tell him like
tell me exactly what we're doing here?
What's happening?
The only Jim Lee penciled script I've ever seen, unfortunately, was All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, where it's like Frank basically says like, "Okay, Jim, like draw this beautiful luscious ass right here," and so there's not a lot of specifics, but there is like there's a lot of character infused in the script. Could also be that like Jim didn't want to like tell Frank like I need more, or he was like I don't want to ask Frank for more, so I'll just wing it.
I can't,
because I will say like. As much as I hate All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, those pencils are fucking awesome. Yeah, like I've never seen a cooler looking Batman. Except for maybe, like, Andy Kubert's design for Batman Dark Knight Returns, which I have a statue of.
Right, no, like, he definitely, like... Because regardless of the script, like, if you have an amazing artist, you're going to get amazing art.
It's going to look great.
Regardless of what the story is.
I have a poster for a book that exemplifies that in every which way. It's called Batman Spawn. Yeah, because it looks great, but it's so stupid.
I could definitely imagine him being like, okay, I learned my lesson. Like, I first asked Frank for more, and what I got was...
Too much more.
Incomprehensible.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm just gonna be like, I'm good. You put everything I needed. Thank you. Even if I don't know, I'm gonna wing it.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for long enough. I think I can do that. I'm Jim Lee.
Yeah, I can do that. I invented Wildcats. I know what I'm doing.
One of my favorite. Every time we talk about Jim Lee, all I can think of is at Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash. Oh no, where did we go?
Sorry about that. It dropped for some reason, but we're back. Anyway.
Right, I'm just going to repeat what I said on the off chance that you guys didn't get that part. In Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash, there is an original Jim Lee piece.
Yeah, it was made for the West Coast store, the sister store for Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash.
Yes.
Jim Lee, of course, is West Coast based, so he did a door.
Yeah. He made like a door, and like he includes it's Batman and Superman, and then Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes.
But like the Batman and Superman are spectacular, and like it's just all line art, and it's just it's effortless.
Yeah.
It is beautiful and effortless, and every time I see it, I'm like, God.
Yeah.
Why do people have this much talent?
I know. I wonder how long it took him to do it. I'm sure that somebody filmed it.
In my head, it's like 20 minutes. He was like,
there you go.
Done.
I'm amazing.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oops.
Who cares?
But
I doodle this kind of stuff on cocktail napkins.
Exactly. When they closed that store, by the way, they moved the door over to the New Jersey-based Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash.
So if you ever end up there, you can see it in person.
Yeah, and it's not a door. It's just an art piece now. Like they framed it and put it next to Silent Bob's original coat from Clerks.
It's amazing.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I would love to see Jim Lee draw like the Marvel Universe again in some way. Right? I don't care if it's like all this changed stuff.
Right.
But all right, let's see
how
we're doing here. Death's End is still reigning supreme, if you will, but coming up second is Blackest Rain.
Nice.
We got 44 votes for Death's End and 27 votes for Blackest Rain. Blackest Rain is not anywhere close to beating Death's End. I think Death's End is the clear winner, although we do have 20 votes for Asgard Attacks and 22 votes for Infinity Crisis.
I liked all of these, so I'm happy with any of them winning.
Yeah. We only have 149 votes so far, so there's over 250 people of you in the chat right now.
Put the link one more time.
I'm gonna drop that link in there one more time. Here it is. It's also in the description below this video.
Yeah.
Now, so
but
you check there. You can do it.
Just in case, there you go. Because telling you, any of these would be great.
Yeah.
We've literally, guys, we have come up with how many? 6, 7?
I don't know, 6, 7 stories. Yeah.
6.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
8?
I think 8.
We have come up with 8 years of crossovers that they could do.
Yeah. It's true. And the fact is, like, if there were a world where Marvel and DC not only created a summer blockbuster event where they worked together to produce this 7-issue book
Yeah.
and all those tie-ins, that they wouldn't do it again next year and the year after that. Like, they have 8 years worth of events.
Could you imagine at the end of those 8 years, the omnibus that would come out?
Yeah.
Just this huge tome
Yes.
of crazy crossovers.
Yeah.
And like everyone always has their favorite, and there was always the one that people were like, that wasn't as good, but other people were like, I like that one a lot. Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Ah.
I know.
And they'll make some of them into animated stuff.
Yeah. That's harder to do than them just working together.
I know.
I will say, though, I really do want to live in a world where where they work together. Like, okay, so, you know, they make these summer blockbuster comics where everybody makes their money, and they're like, you know, this is where the sales spike.
Right.
Wouldn't it be cool if they just said, like, screw it, we're going to work together to do a summer blockbuster, and we just split the cost evenly, and everyone buys it.
That would be spectacular, because like the fact is, like, we've heard it time and again, like, when both companies are having events, people have to choose. Yeah. Not everyone has the funds, and I think that's obvious, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, to not expect everyone to be able to afford, like,
yeah,
both
like,
events,
and
all
their
of their
tie-ins.
tie-ins.
No,
like, that's
true.
ridiculous. But if you accept that, and both companies could, you know, come to a better place where they realize that, then they could be like, okay, we're basically going to get the same amount.
Yeah.
But we're just going to make it easier for the fans. Like, if they thought of for a minute about the people who were buying it.
Yeah.
Instead of just what was going into their wallets. Like, I think we would only benefit. Like,
Yeah.
they would also benefit, because they would just be splitting the profit.
No,
from
it's
something
true.
that everyone was buying.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you have more people involved, you have more people who have eyes on it, you have more people who have the opportunity to like think about continuity, you have the ability to put more manpower into it.
Yeah.
You know, which makes it stronger and come out on time.
Yeah. I agree.
So, I don't know. I think that I wish we had any control over this kind of thing.
But we'll see where we're going. I mean, like, okay, so we've got the event, we've got the creative teams. Obviously, like, none of this is in any way real.
Exactly.
But it's a fun little thought exercise. It's a lot of fun to play with and think about and try, and like, but like, it's interesting to see the reaction, like how, like, no matter what the pitch is, everybody agrees that they want it. That they want to see this.
Yes.
They want to live in this world where like Marvel and DC can get their shit together.
Yes, we want that.
And the fact that like these companies can do it, and the fact they have done it in the past, means that like there's no reason to think that it's never going to happen.
I know.
It's just hopeful that, you know, we're hopeful that like, you know, either it's hard to imagine like a world where it'll work out. I mean, like, or a world. It's hard to imagine the circumstances by which this will occur.
Right. Because
you never know. And that's the thing. Like, we were told forever that Spider-Man will never go back into the MCU because Sony was so desperate to keep their shit together.
Exactly.
And they fucked up in every which way. And as such, they managed to lose, or to work out a deal. There's a rumor that Fox is working out a deal, and we'll see where that goes. Not with X-Men, obviously. Fox will continue to make X-Men movies, and Marvel
until the end of time.
Yeah, and Marvel will continue to marginalize the titles. I understand they're making a Marvel Capcom 4, and there'll be no X-Men in it.
Woo!
Which is like, good to know. Thanks. Like, that's the kind of shit that like I get frustrated.
More
about,
room for characters like Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, and you better believe you're gonna see that. But yeah. No, and like, the people are thinking like Disney has any influence on this. Like, that's the thing, is that everyone's like, oh, Disney's not gonna let you do that. Disney's not gonna shut down. Disney is a parent company. Disney owns many companies.
Disney would only care in terms of TV and movies.
Yes.
Like, that's where they would care, because those are things that are directly on their channels
and that's
coming out of their studios.
It's their wheelhouse. That's what they're interested in. They're purchasing. Like, they purchased the Marvel property so that they would get boys to start buying Disney merchandise.
Yes.
But they're not interested in it as a publishing house. If you want to, like, blame somebody, blame the guy who's in charge of Marvel and his bullshit.
Right.
But, like, and it's up to him. Like, he doesn't care.
I gotta tell you.
It has nothing to do with Disney. Okay? Disney has made... Look, Disney made Roger Rabbit.
I know.
And, like... and they worked out deals where Roger Rabbit got to do Disney cartoons, and like they couldn't work out a deal for, and that's why that's where Bonkers came from. But like
Yes.
Disney has a history of having worked with other companies, and just because like they're a juggernaut doesn't mean they're not going to like let their very very small publisher work with another publisher, because
Right.
like that's the thing you need to remember is that like the numbers that comic books pull in are not like people think like they're doing it for the money. Yeah, like publishers are doing it for the money because
Yeah.
they need it. But when you're subsidized, you don't have to worry about it as much. But like the numbers that they pull in are not enough to sustain themselves.
Yes.
Like look at how many books Bendis has to write to keep a very big house for himself.
Yeah, no, it's
like,
true.
These creators don't get like the numbers don't reflect the like the you know the big shit that they're doing.
Yes.
Like, comic books are still kind of small potatoes. I hate to say it because we're in this world, but
Right.
like you know.
But to them and the money that they see,
yeah,
it's very different.
the only thing that they were thinking of is like, will that affect the movies? Will that affect the shows? And
Exactly.
it's like no. Work with them and they're gonna do his thing, and it's like fine.
Yeah,
you know?
they really wouldn't care. You know, part of me is like, and I don't know if this is true, but like I feel like it would be easier to do like a backdoor version of a crossover, where you take and like we can't use Strange because now he's too big. Now he's in a movie.
Yeah.
It would have to be another character from the Marvel universe who is not well known, very rarely used in comics, and pair them up with someone from Vertigo.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's an
They wouldn't even notice.
It'd be an easier sell to them,
easily,
where it's
yeah.
like, we're not going to touch Batman.
No.
We're not going to touch Superman.
Except like if they were gonna do that, like if we have to make the accountants figure out who's getting paid for this, we might as well just use Batman.
I know.
Like we might as well just do the big thing.
I know, but I assume that it's kind of like, if you could do that, right? Like when you're using smaller characters like that, and the Vertigo universe, which is a little more a niche, it's easier to come to that 50-50 split because you're like 50-50 of what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like just to open the door, just to gently like be like, oh, come on in, you know,
Yeah.
like let's just see how this feels.
Yeah, no, it's a good it's a good water tester. It's a
Yeah.
good, it's a good way to see how it's going. Yeah, Swamp
there you
Thing
go.
Man thing.
That's perfect.
Just yeah,
Perfect.
just called Swamp Monsters. And just
Things.
things. Yeah, I mean that's that you know it you never know.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I mean, like, you know, apropos my Roger Rabbit idea, like, they were gonna do a sequel that was in development. You can read the script. Like, they were working on it. There are like, you don't even know. You know, like,
Yeah.
and like publicly, you know, certain people at DC said they wouldn't work with certain people at Marvel, but privately, you grace the right palms, you send the right fruit baskets. It's a whole different
Exactly.
ballgame.
And like technically, I mean, like, yes, you'd have to deal with DC for this Vertigo thing, but you'd be bringing in Berger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like she is already like not pleased with DC, so I think she would definitely be okay with working with Marvel, bringing some of her stuff over there. And Marvel would probably see that as like a stick into two DC.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think that's cool, and I really wish they would just give it a shot.
Yeah. No, it's true. Plus, like, none of these guys can even agree on what they're doing anyway. Like,
Yeah.
just sit down and go like, boy, it would be nice to have a plan that we know would sell for the next at least foreseeable year. Since everything that they make
Exactly.
decisions about, it seems, are about the immediate, or about like the bottom line for this fiscal year, and
Yeah.
not about like where we're gonna be in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's take a look one more time at the polls.
Is this it? Is this the
I
end?
guess it'll be the final tally, but like the poll's still going to go on for 24 hours, so you have time.
Ooh,
and we're
okay.
going to when this episode airs. If you are catching this visually, you will. You probably are seeing this on Friday because that's when we're going to launch this episode again. But if you're listening to this episode audioalized, you will catch it on iTunes and SoundCloud right now. It's coming out probably today.
Oh.
I always release the audio version like the day of.
Oh.
The day that we record.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So if you're listening to this, you know, jump into the link that's in the description of this video or audio episode, and give and make your voice
Nice.
heard.
So this is just a preliminary feel. Like
Yeah.
this could completely
Oh,
change.
it could. That's the
my
thing.
Gosh.
Yeah, for, like other voted, decided events, you could think one thing and then be completely surprised by what you
I
find
was gonna say,
afterwards.
this could be a hollow victory.
It could be, yeah.
Crazy. Okay, let's
Yeah,
see.
we'll see if Tiffany wins the popular vote. Lol. But anyway,
You are funny.
let me drop the link in the chat one more time. And of course, listen, we will hopefully we'll revisit this topic.
I think that not only do we have to like come back, or you at least next week, but Joel at least tell them what was
won.
the final thing. But I think that has to have a part 2.
I agree.
Like
or part 3.
another part 3 or something like that. Another, like, not even just discussing this event, but starting over.
Yeah.
Let's make a whole new event.
Oh, yeah. I think we could do that in the future.
I like this. I like this interaction with the chat. I like the idea of like sharing these ideas.
Totally.
And just getting your feedback, you know, because like you guys have some awesome ideas.
You do have a lot of really great ideas that we would not have thought of. So what we'll do is we'll drop the winner into the living document that you can find in the description box below this video. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this episode, go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ComicPOP, find this video, click in the description, and you'll find the link to the topic. Or the document that we have, the Google Doc, that has like all of the information if you just want to refer to it or talk about it or share it or whatever. Like, it'll all be in there. Everything that we've talked about and everything that we've kind of like decided, like all like the final stuff is all in that one document. So go take a look at it, go check it out, and we'll see you guys next week with another episode of Elseworlds
Wait,
Exchange.
you're not going to tell them who it is?
But before we go, let's talk
what
about
are you doing?
Yeah, well, let's do it. And results. Death's End is the clear winner with 53 votes.
Wow!
So, nice. You were not sure about this one. But
that's awesome!
Damn. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you, guys!
Thank you guys for sharing your opinions and voting.
Yes!
199 votes.
That's...
247 people in the chat. This is the poll. Go to it. It costs you nothing. You don't have to log in. You don't have to create an account.
You don't have to sign up for anything. You just go,
click the link, you click the button, and then you're done. So make your voice heard. We will throw that into the Facebook group, the Google Plus group, the subreddit will be there.
Yes.
And you can go visit all those things. If you go to facebook.com/ComicPopOfficial, or if you go to reddit.com/r/ComicPop, you can continue the conversation there. And so thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week. Joel will be back next week. We're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about something else. We'll just do a solid topic. One
guys, it'll be back to brass tacks.
Exactly.
There. But before you guys go,
yes,
over on DC Fans,
yes,
I have a video that's up, and it's actually about the very last issue of Wacky Raceland.
That's right. Wacky Raceland apparently is ending. So
yes, and it's like this is the end of the story. This was the story they told, and that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't like stop. It's actually it is actually ended.
Yeah. So there you go.
So go to it, check it out. Here, I'm going to drop a link to that video
that.
in the chat right now.
But thank you.
Let's just grab it here. Show them that we care. And so check out that episode of Wacky Raceland, and of course stay tuned tonight for a brand new episode of Back Issues, where we will be discussing DC's Invasion, which is very topical given the Invasion story, the four-parter that's happening on CW. So check it out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and for sharing your opinions. We really, truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll continue this discussion in the future. So
nice.
Stay tuned for that, and make your voice heard. Vote in the thing. Watch the DC Fans video. Check out Back Issues tonight.
Yes.
Also, if you go over to Comicstorian, we all did a video about the many deaths of Spider-Man. So check that out if you haven't already. And I guess that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for watching, gang. We'll see you later. Bye.